Hi there and welcome. I'm Rabbi Nachum Meth with the Las Vegas Kollel. The Chofetz Chaim, after talking about how negative and terrible and destructive speaking Lashon Hara can be, quotes all of the sources that we've talked about of just all the negative ramifications that happen when we speak Lashon Hara. He poses a fundamental question, which is really the motivation, he's going to argue, for why he wrote the book. And that is, we see that people speak Lashon Hara. It's been my experience, people speak negatively about one another all the time. It really is a rampant, virulent sin that people do all the time, and it's very, very common. The Chofetz Chaim asks, fundamentally, why is it such a common sin? Why do people go ahead and speak negatively and speak Lashon Hara all the time about one another? Why is it so prevalent and so common? And he offers several suggestions and several ideas. The first thing that he mentions is a theme that repeats itself over and over and over again in the book, in the Sefer Chofetz Chaim. And he explains, it comes oftentimes from a misconception that we think Lashon Hara is permissible when we're speaking the truth. If I speak negatively about one another, very often if I speak negatively about Jim, I'll justify it by saying, well, I didn't make anything up. There was no embellishment. Everything that I said was 100% true about Jim. And we justify and rationalize and think that therefore it's okay. And the Chofetz Chaim repeats this. I've had friends who've counted many dozens of times within the book. And the Chofetz Chaim tells us, even if it's emes, even if it's true, it's still prohibited to speak Lashon Hara. We cannot go ahead and speak negatively about one another, even if we're just telling the absolute truth. We're not embellishing at all. The Chofetz Chaim tells us when we embellish, when we're making up things, well, that's lying, that's motzi shemra, that's an additional prohibition we go ahead and we violate. Lashon Hara fundamentally means speaking negatively about one another for a non-halachically justifiable reason. Now, a lot of the book is going to go ahead and explain what are situations where it might be justifiable to protect one another, to go ahead and inform people of potential harm, to protect you from being damaged or hurt from someone else. And we're going to get to that. That's going to be one of the biggest parts of the entire book, are when is it permissible to say negative information. But assuming, and this is in my experience most of the time when we speak negatively about one another, it's not halachically justifiable. Don't think that just because we've spoken the truth, it's therefore permissible. And the Chofetz Chaim tells us this is reason number one. This is the first culprit. We justify and rationalize or don't even think that speaking Lashon Hara, speaking negatively is a problem because I'm only telling the truth. That does not make it permissible to hurt somebody. It does not make it okay to speak negatively about one another just because what you're saying is true. The Chofetz Chaim is going to repeat this over and over and over again, probably because it is part of humanity. If the Chofetz Chaim needs to tell us this so many times, it's probably because it's actually part of civilization. We justify speaking negatively about one another because it's true. Indeed, it's been my experience, I know just speaking with my own shortcomings, but seeing other people as well, so often we overlook speaking Lashon Hara, we overlook the negativity and the fact that it's sinful and forbidden to speak Lashon Hara because it's true and we don't even think about it. We've got to remind ourselves, just because it's true does not make it permissible. Lashon Hara is forbidden even when we're telling the truth. It's only permissible in very select situations, which we're going to talk about throughout the entire Sefer Chofetz Chaim. But Lashon Hara, fundamentally speaking negatively about one another, is forbidden even if the information we're relating is 100% truthful.